Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on The Flash Season 5. So last week sometime we had the promo or trailer for episode 10 or the mid-season premiere for The Flash Season 5 drop shortly after the conclusion of the Elseworlds crossover. And in that trailer we can see that Barry and Iris in some way go to the future. Now at first it did look like it could possibly just be a vibe and like the vibe effects will be added later on before the episode comes out. But then there was a shot of Barry like holding either the Reverse Flash mannequin from the Flash Museum or possibly even just the real Reverse Flash against a wall in the Hall of Villains within the Flash Museum, which doesn't seem like something you could do whilst taking part in a vibe. So it does seem that Barry and Iris will just be traveling to the future themselves, and it will be interesting to see what that reason exactly is. It is important to remember that Sherlock was supposed to, possibly reveal something was up with Nora to Iris in the 100th episode, but that scene was actually deleted from the episode, so maybe that could have like fueled this time traveling situation. I guess we'll either find out or never know, one of the two. But anyway, for some reason, some people believe that this was just a future Iris West that we were seeing here with Barry, which isn't the case. I'm not going to bother jumping into why that is nonsensical. But just because we aren't getting old lady Iris in this episode, it doesn't mean that we aren't going to get her at all this season. Candice Patton, who of course plays Iris West, actually revealed some information on some future scenes that will be coming our way very soon. Matt Mitovich, I think that's how you pronounce his name, from Entertainment Weekly was on the Flash set when they were filming episode 11 for this season, and Candice told him that yes, we will see Iris in the future. However, we haven't shot it yet. So due to this information, what should we take from this? Well, let's jump into it. But of course, let me know in the comment section down below throughout this video your various opinions, what you would do differently with certain things. Just let me know all of that in the comment section down below. And of course, if you're going to enjoy the video, be sure to drop a like in it to show your support. Now, I think we all expected that we would, not only get an older version of Iris West in the future at some point this season, but also a handful of other characters. Almost like what is happening on Arrow this season. We're just basically waiting for certain characters to eventually show up. But specifically with Iris, you would expect them to have some possible backstory or just like visual evidence on the relationship between her and the Nora we have in the present. I guess it will be interesting to see if the future was, has changed due to Nora and Iris making up. I mean, time travel is confusing because then wouldn't Iris have not put the chip in Nora? Ouch, my brain. Anyway, so as was mentioned by that guy from EW's thing, at the time he was on set, they were filming episode 11 for this season, but they had not filmed any old lady Iris stuff yet. And Candice just knew that they were going to be doing it. So what if the show is showing us not only an older version of Iris, but also some other characters we have on the show until a two-part story or, two-episode story in episodes 13 and 14 for this season. Episodes 13 and 14 of The Flash in every season, apart from one, has been a very special time for viewers. As that would usually be like the area every season that the show would do like a two-part story over those two episodes. So in season 1 it was the Firestorm story, in season 2 it was the Journey to Earth 2 stuff, and in season 3 it was the Gorilla City stuff. However, in season 4 we didn't get a two-part story, which was disappointing to many people, including myself. So one would hope that this season we have the return of the two-episode story arc, and it would be extremely fitting if it did involve time traveling to the future, while most likely also having a storyline in the present day with those present day characters. But what exactly would the story be? Well, we know thanks to the showrunner for The Flash, that being Todd Helbing, that there will be no dwelling on the big reveal from the end of episode 8, which of course was when we see Nora scan her book to Gideon. She's going to send that message off. Then we actually see Nora travel to the year 2049 to Iron Heights, and we see that she has been working with Eobard Thawne, aka the Reverse Flash. We will be jumping straight back into that in episode 10, and apparently there will be another big reveal, whether that be to us, the audience, to Nora, or possibly even to Barry and maybe even Iris and the rest of Team Flash. We know that Sherlock is going to be looking deeper into Nora's messages, and that he will even stumble into the time vaults thanks to a sneak peek sort of clip thing we got for episode 10. So Nora could be exposed in this episode, or at least she could get close to it. So what if by episode 13, the team finds out about these messages that Nora has been sending to someone in the future, and Barry takes it upon himself to travel to the future and dive deeper into everything? Or possibly he even follows Nora to the future. He sees, he just sees her run off and just, casually follows, and that just starts the adventure. This would allow Barry to witness a world without the Flash, without him, and even though he is most likely time traveling in episode 10, it does appear he will just be inside the Flash Museum with Iris, not outside of it. But in this two-parter, we could see Barry visit multiple locations in 2049 and just witness what legacy he leaves behind after disappearing and, never returning. We know, or at least are led to believe, that Nora was well acquainted with all the members of Team Flash in the future, so we could see future versions of them, or at least some of them. Iris, of course, would probably be a focus, or at least in regards to future characters would be a focus. The issue would be around having Barry interact with her, because that could be an issue. What it could be, though, is just like a wake-up call to how Iris deals with Barry's loss. He's just witnessing it firsthand, but from a distance. Our dad is going to go to Iris and go, "Hey, I'm your dead or vanished husband from the past 20 years. How's it going?" Our dad is going to do that. But it would almost be like in season 3 when we traveled to 2024 and saw the emo Barry and how he dealt with the death of Iris. Obviously, you'd have to think what Iris is doing would be a bit less dramatic than what the emo Barry was doing. Because we know that Iris just jumped straight into writing an article after Barry disappeared, so obviously she didn't go on the massive depressing journey that emo Barry did in 2024. Now, usually with the two-parters, you have part of the episode in the main setting, so in this case, the future, and then you have another part of the episode, or the episodes, set in Star Labs back on Earth 1, or just Earth 1 present day in general. So what I think would be cool is that if in present day, we have, say, Caitlin, Cisco, and Sherlock deciphering more of the messages they find from Nora, and as they are deciphering them in present day, they sort of connect to what Barry is about to run into in the future. Now, not spoiling it necessarily, I'm not saying, oh, the message says Reverse Flash, and then Barry walks into Reverse Flash. Nothing like that, but it's just little hints and clues as to what Barry's about to run into. And I think the best way for this story to all come to a head and a point would be for Barry to piece together everything, which then leads him to Iron Heights, where he interacts with that Eobard Thawne we saw speaking to Nora at the end of episode 8. I personally think that would be great to see unfold. We all love time travel. We'd get, focuses on all the characters and both the present and future stuff. So why not set 2 episodes around that? I think it would be amazing in my opinion. And some of you guys would know, I did ask you guys just to, let me know some questions you have about the past, half a season we've had with The Flash in the community tab. So I thought I'd answer some of your questions to end off the video. So the first one comes from XL Cats, who asked, "I'm confused about one thing. Where was Nora during this entire crossover? They bring her into the plot to leave her out of the crossover." And yes, that's a good question. Where was Nora? Now, people have said, oh, it's because Barry turned into Stephen Amell, but that really shouldn't cancel out Nora because we have Cicada there, and Cicada was there because of Nora. So Nora would have to be in the season and in that reality for Cicada to make sense. You know what I mean? So my reasoning for why Nora wasn't in there, I guess that's an explanation, but I think it was because Oliver Queen doesn't know that Barry's daughter from the future was in present day. So it would be weird to have another character there which would need explaining to Oliver. It just would have been, taking too much time up. So I think leaving Nora out of the crossover was actually the smart option. I'm surprised she didn't make a cameo when, say, Oliver Queen's Barry Allen wasn't there. Maybe she walks into the room and says, "Where's Dad?" or something like that. And they just say, "Oh, he's off doing something." I'm surprised there wasn't a cameo like that. But I can understand why they didn't bring her on the crossover, just due to the fact that they would have had to explain everything to Oliver Queen, and it just would have eaten up time, which I think was unnecessary. Tyler Hurl said, "When do you think they will bring the chin strap back?" Dude, I don't know. I honestly have no idea. It's on the statue in front of the Flash Museum, and it's in the 2024 newspaper, so soon, maybe next season. Now, next question is coming from Linda, who asked, "I'm just curious if anyone else noticed the book in the crossover is written in the same language as Nora's journal. Can you try to explain why that is?" Now, some people wanted me to make a whole video on this. I don't think it's worth it, to be completely honest. I think the best answer to give is that it's just a language that isn't changed by either reality changes or timeline changes, because that's sort of the reasoning that the explanation that Nora gave. So I'm guessing it applies to reality changes as well. And also, it is important to remember that it wasn't really a focus in the crossover. You see for a split second on screen before the book turns blue, because whenever the book's opened, essentially it glowed blue. So I really wouldn't focus on that too much. If I had to give a reasoning for it, though, I'd say that the language can't be changed by either reality changes or timeline changes. It's a permanent language that can be deciphered and translated. So that's the best explanation I can give. The Shadow King 27, what happened to Zoom when the Time Wraith pulled him out of the Speed Force? A lot of people are asking this as well. There's two options. It's either that Zoom was a Time Remnant, so it didn't really matter what happened to him. He just would have done nothing, I guess. It was just a Time Remnant, so he was expendable. Or the Time Wraith pulled Zoom out and took him to his original time from when he came from, like, where he's meant to be. That's, like, the two options that don't cause any, like, plot issues and timeline issues with Zoom. So that's probably the best explanation I can give in regards to that. If it's anything other than that, then I think it's a massive issue and a plot hole. But in regards to, like, you know, filling in that plot hole, it's either was a Time Remnant or the Time Wraith took that normal Zoom and put him back where he was meant to be in the timeline. And then the last question comes from Benjamin Cool or Cull, who asked, how do they make up for the time gap because Flash Season 5 started immediately following, but Arrow started 6 months later? Well, Benjamin, in episode 7 for this season, they actually time jumped to Thanksgiving. There was no real explanation around it. They just time jumped randomly. I think it was a bit lazy, to be completely honest. There was no explanation around it, but there was a time jump from episode 6 to episode 7 by like a good 4 months or something like that. So there's your answer. But thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like on it to show support. Let me know in the comments section down below your various opinions on what we went over in this video. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. I'll catch you later, guys. Goodbye.